Recording at 30 seconds per minute. Okay. 3, 2. Well, move a little bit. Move this way a little bit.
Bruh.
I'll move this way. There you go. What's going on, RFL? Welcome back to another video. I know it has been a minute since a reaction. I'm sorry. A lot of shit's been going on. But special guest, not really, Noah. Like I was saying, we're reacting to how an entitled no-name actor destroyed a Disney classic. Have you seen SnowWhite shit?
Talking about the live action?
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen it. It wasn't really that, like, I thought it was Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. Musicals ain't really my thing. Let's go. What the fuck? So without further ado, let's get into this reaction.
You can redeem for digital Roblox gift cards. So what are you waiting for? Get started now at rewards.microsoft.com.
On to it.
Projected, it earned a 1.6 out of 10 star rating on Disney was warned for years that their live-action remake of Snow White would be an abysmal failure. They ignored the warnings and instead made every wrong decision possible, leading to a box office bomb. Theaters around the world are empty. The film sold 50% less than they projected. It earned a 1.6 out of 10 star rating on IMDb, a 20% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. CGI dwarfs will give you nightmares, and the little people they replaced with CGI have filed a class action lawsuit against Disney. Walt Disney himself is turning in his grave because he personally requested that the company should never change alter.
Well, he's frozen right now.
Well, that's the theory, is that he's frozen, and that they trying to like in the future, like when technology becomes advanced enough, they trying to revive him. Some shit. I don't know. That shit.
I heard about that shit.
I don't believe that shit gonna work.
Why Walt Disney out of everybody? It could have been Martin Luther King. Could have been anybody.
But he had the money though. He set that shit in motion. I think he wanted to like be revived when Disneyland or the Disney franchise which he started was big enough or some shit. I don't know, some weird shit.
Or remake Snow White, but they did it anyway by casting Rachel Zegler, who insisted that they change the entire film to make it more politically correct. Rachel called the original Prince Charming a stalker, insisted that Snow White was not yearning for love, but actually dreamed of being a leader. Rachel also demanded she be paid more for, quote,
I don't have a problem with empowering women in films or in any field, you know what I'm saying? I'm all about women and equality, but at the same time, don't butcher an original film just to put out a message like that. I'm sorry, like make something original.
It should be made more book based, bro.
Exactly, like she was trying so hard to push that women don't need a man to help them or to help the dazzle in distress. Like it was some bullshit.
Standing in a dress for 18 hours. Zegler created so much controversy that Disney had to hire a personal security detail for her co-star Gal Gadot because of the countless death threats she was receiving. This movie is an absolute dumpster fire, and Rachel's response to the film bombing proved that everyone's suspicions about her were correct.
I'm a narcissist.
And yet none of that has anything to do with why people were suspicious about Rachel Zegler in the first place. In 2018, Rachel's friend sent her a tweet about an open casting call for Steven Spielberg's film adaptation of West Side Story.
Why you say she don't look like Snow White?
She don't, bro.
It's the race, huh?
What you mean it's the race?
Cause
it's like her face don't look like Snow White. And her hair is flat. You can tell that being put on a wig.
So 16-year-old Zegler recorded and submitted an audition tape.
Bernardo and Anita, are you all mourning about a fight that's gonna happen tonight?
Now, she was definitely a promising young talent. She spent her childhood acting in countless plays and developed an impressive singing voice. Rachel was just one of 30,000 who auditioned for the role of Maria. Without any professional acting experience, an agent, or connections in Hollywood, she was selected for the lead role. Her performance earned critical acclaim, and she went on to win the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. The industry plant accusations were formed because some people simply do not believe that a no-name actor could get this lucky. She was basically hand-selected by Steven Spielberg. Then again, with the entertainment industry being flooded with nepo babies and people born into immense wealth, Rachel being essentially a random girl from New Jersey securing an A-list role actually might be a step in the right direction for Hollywood. However, they may have chose the wrong girl, because her inability to keep her politically charged opinions to herself started to cause problems for Disney executives. As if West Side Story wasn't already a massive introduction to Hollywood, her next role was even bigger, one that could set her up for a lifetime of success, and that was being cast as Snow White in Disney's live-action remake of the classic. Rachel chose to make this monumental announcement on Twitter where she wrote, "Yes, I am Snow White. No, I am not bleaching my skin for the role."
What?
Rachel deleted this tweet shortly after.
She was saying because you was like, she don't look like Snow White. That's probably why. Other niggas probably was on her ass too, because Snow White is supposed to be Caucasian, and she is not. I think she's Dominican or something. I don't know.
But she's race or what she looked like or not. She still could have been a better role for it.
Yeah, like I feel like it wasn't like, I don't think like the casting was bad. Honestly, it's just how they executed the movie was
world. However, the reason she brought up her skin color in the first place was to address the criticism she was receiving online. In the original fairy tale and the 1937 animated film, Snow White is depicted as having skin as white as snow. It is quite literally the inception of the princess's identity. But Rachel Zegler is of Colombian descent and has more of an olive skin tone. Now, there definitely were some extreme takes suggesting that Disney is evil and only casting POC characters to cause outrage. There were also some blatantly racist takes, but most people were just genuinely confused why Snow White wasn't going to be white. And this does seem to be a recurring theme for Disney these days. The original 1989 animation of The Little Mermaid.
Have you seen the live action of...
I was just thinking about that shit.
Yes, nigga.
Black. And then people were going crazy on that too online.
On baby, niggas like, why is the mermaid black and shit?
And didn't she break out on the interview?
Yeah.
I seen that shit, yeah, and she was like, it was getting to her head. But she fucking played that movie though. Now that was a good ass movie.
Yeah, it's just, the one thing I do get the argument of is that people argue that they shouldn't change, that it's not a problem that they changed the races per se. It's just the problem that they changed in the story altogether, because people want to see Snow White as Snow White, see her skin white as snow, and I don't really have a problem with that. Same as Little Mermaid, people want to see a white redhead because that's what they saw, because that's what they grew up with. They want to see what they saw, but adapted.
Basically, it's supposed to be a classic. Yeah. It's not supposed to be.
It's supposed to be an adaptation, but it's not. It's basically just a reiteration of the story.
It was basically like a reboot generated version.
Exactly.
Ariel as a white woman, whereas the 2023 live-action remake cast Halle Bailey as Ariel, who is African American. And yes, this film was also accused of pandering, trying to change something that was a non-issue in the first place. However, defenders pointed out that mermaids don't have a race because they are not real. Normally, these controversies lead to failure, but the film grossed over $560 million worldwide and made a solid profit. But Zegler insisted that the Snow White remake was based on an alternative version of the story, one that doesn't have to do with her skin color. She said, "It fell back to another version of Snow White that was told in history, where she survived a snowstorm that occurred when she was a baby, and so the king and queen decided to name her Snow White to remind her of her resilience. One of the core points in our film for any young woman or young person is remembering how strong you actually are. And while this may seem like a small nuance that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, it was an insight into the major changes that were coming next, because the more Zegler talked about the film, the more it seemed like it was going to be a disaster, particularly in this Variety interview where she talked about how she and the writers are giving Snow White a modern twist."
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince. She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Snow White dreams of being a leader. Why not write a totally
She also said in that fucking interview, I don't know why he didn't show it, is that also in this movie we're showing that women don't really need a man to help them when they're in distress.
That doesn't make any sense about Snow White though.
Yeah, because that's the story. That's the story of it. It's not necessarily a woman being in distress and needing a man to save her. I forget the concept of the story, but it's not that. Niggas just looking at it so wrong.
Instead of remaking the old ones, it has nothing to do with Snow
But
White.
I get it. It's a product of its time.
There is nothing wrong with dreaming about true love,
ideals like
but
that
people
was
were not
still
overreacting in the comments. Zegler supported stripping this classic story of its roots.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Rachel's tone might come off silly to some, but it is evidently so sarcastic.
Yeah.
Referring to Prince Charming as a stalker is inaccurate and disrespectful. We are not talking about just any Disney film. We are talking about the first ever full-length animated feature film in history. This is quite literally Walt Disney's baby. Now, people are already a little apprehensive towards the countless remakes of old Disney classics, but Rachel's lack of class and grace pushed anyone who was even a little open-minded away. Despite that, she continued to express her disdain for the original film.
I was scared of the original cartoon. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once, never revisited Snow White again.
What's interesting about Rachel claiming to be scared of the original film is that she also said the exact opposite during her press tour, showing pictures of her as a child in her Snow White dress and how she always dreamed as a little girl of being this princess.
Wow.
This constant flip-flopping along with her sarcastic tone just
Yeah, she
soured
on both
people's
sides of the
perception of
tracks,
her.
like, come on.
But not only did she seem unappreciative of a Disney classic, she also made some interesting comments about her next role as Anthea in Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes? I needed a job. I'm being so serious.
While yes, even actors have bills to pay
Yeah,
and
she
need a
was
job to
honest
do
though.
That's
that,
real.
some interpreted the
She's
remark
honest
as
about
snarky
that.
and annoying.
Snarky,
Now,
I
to
know
be
you
fair,
about that.
later in
Yeah,
the
that's
interview,
real.
Rachel does go on to express her
She got-
gratitude
He said
for
some
receiving
people took
this
it all
role,
wrong.
considering it was only her second Hollywood film ever. But her unapologetic attitude on the red carpet continued to stir the pot,
Yeah,
and
some
she
niggas
just
just
kept
funny.
making
Some
it
niggas were
worse,
actors just 'cause they
specifically
just
during the
need a job.
writer's strike of 2023.
They're good
The
at
Writers
it.
Guild of America represents thousands of writers in film, TV, radio, and all.
Most famous actors nowadays that we know by name didn't even want to be an actor.
And then
It just stumbled
grew,
upon their lap.
basically.
Yeah,
And then that's why so many actors are retiring now because
they got their money, they got their bread, they up.
yeah.
Online media. They are the backbone of Hollywood's content. Despite their importance, Hollywood executives restructured the industry to drastically reduce residual payments, leaving most writers with little to no income after their work is uploaded to apps like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, etc. So the guild went on a strike to renegotiate and push for higher pay. Rachel Zegler also used her voice to support the strike.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
She's like, everything people hate about this generation distilled
I
into
get
a
that,
single
but at the same time, my nigga, like as somebody who's aspiring to be an actor, I get the whole reason why most of the actors went on strike. I think 2 years or a year ago. But at the same time, my nigga,
Life's expectations.
at least from a working class standpoint, it just seems crazy because it's like y'all niggas are getting paid just to be dramatic. Basically, that's what acting is basically is. You're getting paid to act dramatic. Like, sure they give you context, but that's basically the job, to act dramatic. You feel me? And it's just kind of crazy how I don't know. And depending on how much she made from the fucking movies, I mean, shit.
person. At this point, I'm sure you are noticing a
Just me,
pattern.
I'll be
While we
happy
hope
with
that
just
deep
fucking
down Rachel's intentions
4
are
bands
pure, and we hope that
to be
she
in a movie
truly
shit.
is just
I'll
trying
tell
to
you.
have an overall positive impact on the world, she has a terrible way of expressing her opinions, as her tone often comes off as disrespectful. Having 2 movies under her belt and already aggressively demanding higher pay came off extremely
acting
entitled, especially
Hopefully
considering
she-
the strike
hopefully
was mostly
she saves
for
it, but
writers, because
not.
main characters like Zegler are often compensated extremely generously. By this point, her reputation was at an all-time low, and there were even rumors circulating that Disney was going to axe this film, as countless people expressed that Rachel Zegler is the sole reason that they would not go to watch the movie. But then somehow, Disney managed to make things even worse. They announced that they would be changing Snow White's 7 dwarves to the more politically correct Snow White's diverse group of magical creatures of all sizes and genders. Photos of the cast were leaked onto the internet, which sparked outrage. These look like many.
Oh my god, bro. These niggas just need to leave shit alone, bro. Like, dang, like
magical creatures with the fuck?
Like of all sizes and genders. Oh my fuck, there's 2 genders. Oh my fucking god, I'm tired. I'm tired of sugarcoating shit. I'm tired of being nice. There's 2 genders. Prove me wrong. Scientifically, there are 2 genders. Whatever 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 18th, 9th, 20th, 100 gender you thinking of, those are just society constructs that are made by individuals. Don't exist.
Evil time.
Welcome back, Kid Cuisine.
Let's keep the fun going with my Kid Cuisine All-Star Chicken Nuggets meal, made with white meat
for a taste that can't be beat.
And my mac and cheese is out of here. Mealtime is fun time with Kid Cuisine.
Reenactors at the local fair. Disney quickly responded and said that these were not pictures of the actual set.
I don't even watch. I don't know why I'm going this hard about princess movies, nigga. I don't even watch princess movies, nigga. But at the same time, it's
not a princess movie anymore. They're trying to make it too political.
Yeah, it's about empowering women. Like, my nigga, it's supposed to be a kid. It's supposed to be like a kid show, a kid movie about fucking love and adventure and evil versus good. That's it.
That shit crazy.
Not none of this extra shit. Like, niggas that be
the only
doing
reason
things
Disney
way out
planned
of
on
proportion.
changing the dwarves in the first place was because of a comment made by Hollywood star Peter Dinklage, who felt that the new rendition of the movie was not progressive enough.
I was a little taken back by they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White. Yeah. But you're still telling the story of Snow White, yeah. 7 dwarfs. Sure. You take a step back and look at what you're doing there. Yeah. I know. That makes no sense to me. But you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that.
So he's saying that Disney wants to hire somebody of Latino or Dominican descent to play a white role, but they're still telling the story of Snow White, which I guess in his eyes, I don't know the backstory or the lore of fucking Snow White, but I'm guessing what he think is that the story of Snow White is probably fucking defensive or derogatory in some way. I don't know. I don't really ever heard.
It sounds like even though the actor's not Snow White, they're still bringing their specific table to play Snow White.
Yeah, because I don't. Like, I need to know the lore. Like what is Snow White based off of?
Even though Peter Dinklage has built an illustrious Hollywood legacy with countless roles as a little person, he seemed pretty upset with Disney. They promptly responded that they would avoid reinforcing stereotypes and would be consulting with members of the dwarfism community to make the 7 characters more inclusive. Most people just looked at this as Disney once again pandering to another social issue. Yep. But what often happens
I swear to God, Disney be making kid shows, and literally, I forgot what movie it was, but it was a fucking kid movie on Disney Plus, and one of the characters was literally bi, or I think gay, a female cop, and literally, like, it was nothing wrong with it, but they try to push it, off to make it seem, to make it normalized in kids' view, basically to make it seem like to basically tell the kid like, oh, this is all right.
Remember the one thing they did with
you can do this.
Remember the one thing they did with fucking Umbrella Academy?
What do you mean what they did?
The girl that turned into a trans or something?
Yeah, but that was a real life thing. She actually did. She had surgery and shit. She got her titties removed and everything.
But then remember they put it to part in the show when she's actually said she's trans in the show too.
Yeah, because I think I heard about that. She had a problem. She was like, if I'm gonna keep playing this character, then I want the character to reflect my real world experiences. Basically, her transitioning and shit.
Please everyone for the sake of being politically correct, you end up pleasing no one.
What they're doing is pretty much you're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, they should have hired this
Four
man.
dwarfs.
Disney was panicking for a solution to make both
instead of
sides
doing
happy,
CGI.
and nobody could have predicted how bad their solution to this problem would be. Instead of
But I feel
casting
like
real
probably
actors, Disney decided to eliminate them and use CGI dwarves instead, which would provide enough nightmare fuel to last you the rest of 2025. The dwarves look like scary monsters, not cute, charming friends. The overuse of CGI in this film allowed them to take shortcuts. Instead of creating detailed artistic sets and costumes, they relied on animation, which made the film feel cheap, hollow, and soulless. Like, wasn't this supposed to be a live-action remake? Where's the live action? Why is there so much CGI? Why does it look like a really bad cartoon? Additionally, the significance of the dwarves to the story was drastically reduced. Grumpy and Dopey got a decent amount of screen time, while the other 5 dwarves were barely shown enough for the viewers to be able to distinguish them from one another. Ironically, all of these decisions were made to avoid backlash from the dwarfism community, and now the little people who were removed from the film are now planning a class action lawsuit against Disney for replacing them with cartoons.
Wow.
It's so ridiculous.
So no, they hired dwarves for the 7 doors, but then afterwards changed them to CGI. That's fucked up. Like, okay. Like, okay, you paid them. Okay, I can see if you paid them, but like, still though, that's kind of fucked.
Because they still had to do that work, and even if they thought they
yeah, and you basically just wasted them folks' time and shit. Basically saying, "Oh, I need you. I need your dwarfism," just to be like, "Oh, we don't need that shit."
Nerf. New from Nerf, the N-Strike Recon CS6, the blaster you can customize for any mission. For night missions, equip the red spylight to spot hidden targets. For multi-target missions, the 6-dart quick-fire clip gives you extra firepower. And for long-range missions, flip up the sight to nail your target. The N-Strike Recon CS6, only from Nerf. Blaster comes as shown, other blasters sold separately. Batteries not included. Nerf.
Actress Allie Chapman, who is 3 foot 8 inches tall, said, 7 talented little people actors could have played these roles in the live-action remake, and yet they chose to use cartoons. It's an insult and discriminatory. You ever see one of those tragic situations where it's extremely foggy and there's a traffic jam on the highway, and you have cars speeding into the fog, just crashing into each other? That is this film. And surely it couldn't get any worse, right? Wrong, because now there was a major dispute between the 2 stars of the film, Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler. Fans noticed sometime between 2023 and 2024 that Gal and Rachel may have developed some tension. As you can see in this interview, Gal is being professional, looking and smiling while Zegler is speaking. But whenever Gal is speaking, Zegler refuses to look at her, often looking down at her feet or off to the side. Their body language screams that there is tension between them, and these assumptions would be proven true. When Disney released the official trailer for Snow White, Rachel thanked the fans for their support, receiving over 120 million views in 24 hours. She used that big moment to make a political statement. And always remember, Free Palestine. While some saw this as an honorable act of solidarity, others...
Free Palestine?
That's the country. That's the country that's in a war right now with Ukraine, I think.
What does that have to do with anything with the movie?
Nothing at all. But I guess she's trying to. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess she's trying to.
That's so random. No, it's just random.
I get a benefit out. She's trying to get a good message out there. You know what I'm saying? Because Palestine is in war and shit's
interpreted it as a jab at her co-star. Gal Gadot is Israeli and even served in their military. Gal has been outwardly supportive.
It's a war between right now. It's a war between Palestine and Israel, and she's Israeli, and she said free Palestine. So basically, she took it as a diss to her people.
Specifically posting support for the IDF and civilian hostages taken during the October 7th Hamas attack. Almost immediately, Gal began getting a concerning amount of death threats. Things got so bad that Disney had to hire a personal security detail for Gadot. One of the Disney producers, Mark Platt, flew from Los Angeles to New York to have a personal crisis talk with Zegler. Platt had to remind her how much was at stake with the movie and her career before asking her to post heedfully. The son of the Disney producer was criticized online for for his father trying to reprimand Zegler, to which he responded, "Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability."
Yeah, true, because when she signed with Disney and partnered with them with that film, and
some rules.
There's obviously rules. Even if you didn't have to say anything, there's rules. You ain't supposed to talk down on the film. You're supposed to promote the film in a good light. But her saying "Free Palestine" in a way kind of put the film and everything in hindlight, in the bad light, red light.
Her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires, at the risk of all the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. Now, Rachel Zegler cannot necessarily be held responsible for the actions of other people. After all, her and her co-star are doing the exact same thing. They are just expressing support for opposite sides. But all of this could have been avoided if they just left politics out of a children's movie. But Zegler was insistent on making her political opinion heard at any opportunity she could.
Votes for Kamala Harris. And it's actually non-negotiable. Our rights are on the line, folks. Our reproductive rights.
No, that's actually crazy.
Come on.
It's crazy seeing it now because Donald Trump won and we seeing what the fuck he doing now. So I get that, but at the same time, she's saying there's no choice.
But you seen that?
And what better time than immediately after the election?
You seen that, how he raised the tariffs and shit?
Oh yeah, he raised the tariffs and everything.
And then China started raising. You know what he did after that?
What?
He made a deal that he would lower back the tariffs. So basically, he did that shit for nothing. So basically, he's gonna start, or they already signed that he's gonna start lowering the tariffs while the Chinese. So basically, this is what he did. Inflation happened, right? Shit skyrocketed. He went down to the middle. Instead of being cheap, he went down to the middle and remained at the middle. So I don't know what the fuck his point was.
So what you're saying? He raised the tariffs to just bring them back down?
Or with the exceeded price, basically. Not the same price, but with an exceeded price.
So he upped it a little bit.
Yes. So he upped it higher, like super high in the beginning. He made a deal with China or like whatever country did, and he left it at the middle. So our tariffs wouldn't be affected. Our tariffs are still expected in other countries, but it's not as bad when the first tariffs came.
Yeah. Wow.
So I don't know what.
And of President Donald Trump, she posted on her Instagram story, "I find myself speechless in the midst of this."
They need to do a complete overhaul of the fucking White House and the justice system and all that.
I think we need younger people.
Yes, because I think the age limit, you are qualified to be a president at 40 something. Or no, at 50 something. But it'd be old niggas in their 70s or 60s who be running for office and don't know or don't have the cognitive ability to talk or to give a speech. Like, and it'd be crazy. Like, I feel like they do need to up the gate. They do need to up the age of when you you can apply to be a president. Because I do understand having an age limit because the requirement you're supposed to live in the U.S. for a certain amount of time. You ain't supposed to move or be a citizen to any other country or any other place other than the United States. And you're supposed to be a certain age.
Don't you have to know some shit to be president too? You have to know like a whole bunch of shit.
I mean, yeah, because if you don't know anything, that will clearly show in your campaign.
Another 4 years of hatred, leaning us towards a world I do not want to live in, leaning us towards a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in. She doesn't have a daughter, by the way. Leaning us towards a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want. Leaning us towards a world that
she's thinking of like
I shouldn't be this shocked, but I am. I am heartbroken for my friends who awoke here this morning, and I am here with you to cry, to yell, to hug, to wax poetic on how the left continues to fail us in forging a new path forward. This loss should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. May Trump supporters and Trump voters
not bad
Trump
if you're doing it in the right
never
way.
know peace. This sent the media into an all-out frenzy, particularly conservative media, who were shocked that Disney was allowing their star to publicly condemn half the country.
Hello, Disney. You're gonna have to redo your film again. Because this woman is a pig, and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
Rachel finally crossed a line. Disney was officially fed up with her and decided to take action. First, I'm assuming they made her apologize because she redacted her comments she made about the election. From there, Zegler reportedly began working with a social media guru paid for by Disney to vet any posts before the film's March 21st debut. They essentially had someone monitoring her social media so she wasn't able to sabotage the film any further, but the damage had already been done. The film officially released in theaters worldwide on March 21st, 2025. There was a slight chance that all this negative publicity would actually draw more attention to the film. Increased chance that in theaters worldwide on March 21st, 2025. There was a slight chance that all this negative publicity would actually draw more attention to the film, increase ticket sales, and lead to a successful debut. Unfortunately for Disney, the opposite happened. Fans knew this movie was going to suck way before it ever released, and no matter how many professional critics on Rotten Tomatoes are writing positive reviews, the fans have made their statement with a lack of support. And as a result, Snow White has suffered a disastrous opening weekend at the global box office, earning only $87.3 million worldwide, which sounds like a lot until you realize that it had a staggering $250 million production budget, which some reports suggest is actually closer to $300 million after reshoots and marketing costs. That means they had a whopping 70% loss, making it one of Disney's biggest box office bombs in recent history. This performance is nearly exactly the same as The Little Mermaid. It had the same budget and had a very similar opening weekend. However, The Little Mermaid was actually a pretty good remake with positive reviews. Fans later decided to give the movie a shot, which resulted in a $569 million worldwide box office earnings. But due to the overwhelming agreement for people who actually watch the movie that it sucks, and then people straight up boycotting, I don't think Snow White's gonna get a second wind. This is a bomb. And Rachel Zegler's response to the box office failure was nothing short of delusional.
And to everyone who hates what I win, the winged victory came to the roof in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
Fuck is Founder?
And I can only hope.
I swear, that's something I saw it.
That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them.
Oh, Sylvester. Oh, you didn't know
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
People who already thought Zegler was a narcissist have officially confirmed their feelings after seeing this statement. They suspected she was trying to make this film about her. They suspected that she did not care for the legacy of Disney and that all she wanted was the spotlight for herself. And honestly, this response makes it seem like those assumptions are now justified. But it's a confusing response because the film was a massive flop. Like, essentially she's saying, haha, my movies are so great, you just have to line up and you have to watch them. But that's not the case. People are actually not waiting in line for this film specifically because of her. And as easy as it is to continuously blame her for the failure of this film, it's only fair to admit that Rachel Zegler's performance was actually decent. She is a great singer, and she definitely performed well considering most of what makes the film actually bad was outside of her control. Like most Disney live-action remakes, Snow White just felt a bit bland and lacked the magic of the original. The CGI looked cheap, the colors are dull and boring, the evil queen didn't feel very evil at all. These remakes often struggle to capture the same charm, making them feel like a corporate cash grab. But since Disney will lose money on this film, perhaps they won't make this same mistake going forward. But the biggest learning lesson for Disney here is that the internet outrage is not fake. When people say, hey, your main character is insufferable and I will not spend my money to see this movie, they're not lying. When people say they genuinely want politics to remain out of a children's movie, they are not lying. And when people say it's better to to just invent new stories instead of alter the classics, they are not lying. The people won, but the truth is, this film should have never been made. Walt Disney himself was extremely protective of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This was essentially his baby. Walt reportedly rejected multiple ideas for sequels, including a proposed short called Snow White Returns, and was adamant that the original story should not be altered or expanded, as he believed Snow White was a standalone masterpiece that should remain untouched. And it's extremely evident that Disney should have honored their creator's one wish.
Facts. Not going even.
The problem I've always faced.
Yeah, WVid. Yeah. Honestly, they just need to keep. They was right. They need to keep.
And untouched.
Huh?
He said keep it untouched.
Yeah, they need to stop changing shit, and just, if they're gonna do an adaptation of something that was already created years prior, then just keep everything original. If everybody loved everything about that movie, then there's nothing should be changed. So yeah, I don't really see anything with that. But thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe button. Make sure you turn on post notifications so you do not miss another video. And more videos on the way. See y'all next time.
See you.
I've been busy, you know that. You know you're just saying that. Are you going to get that?